God's story, generosity. So part of God's story is about how He wants us to be generous, and it goes like this. Being generous means sharing what you have. It's something God has always asked His followers to do. Remember how God built a special family called the Israelites? They were His very first followers. He taught them what to do by giving them laws, like giving 10% of everything they had back to God. That's called tithing. God even said to test Him. If they obeyed and were generous with what He gave them, He would give them exactly what they needed. See, God is generous, and He wants us to be like Him. He sent His greatest treasure, His Son Jesus, to earth. Jesus left the kingdom of heaven and gave up His life to rescue us so that one day we can be a part of God's kingdom and live in it with Him forever. Basically, Jesus gave up everything for us. Anyway, when Jesus was here, He showed us even more about being generous. In fact, Jesus said we can not only give a tithe, but we can give way more than that. We can give thirsty people water and hungry people food. We can visit people who are lonely and pray for people who are hurting. He did that all the time. He said when we do that, it's like we're giving to Him. Jesus actually told us when we're generous, we show Him we love Him. He said, your heart will always be where your treasure is. That's a fancy way of saying you spend your money on what you care about. In the Bible, one day, a rich guy came up to Jesus and asked what he could do to live forever in God's kingdom. Jesus said, go and sell everything you have. Give the money to those who are poor. You will have treasure in heaven. Then come and follow me. Jesus wants us to follow Him with our whole hearts and care about Him more than anything. Unfortunately, the man went away sad because he couldn't put his treasure in heaven. He loved the stuff he had on earth too much. Another time, Jesus watched people give offerings at the temple. One woman only put in a few small coins, but Jesus told His disciples, that poor widow has put more into the offering box than all the others. They all gave a lot because they are rich, but she gave even though she is poor. She put in everything she had. That was all she had to live on. The widow gave everything to Jesus, just like Jesus gave everything to us. Like the rich guy and the poor widow, all of us have different ways we can give. The Bible actually says we should give what we want. After all, God loves a cheerful giver. When we share joyfully with others, we're showing love to God. Our generosity shows Jesus how much we love Him, just like His generosity shows how much He loves us. And that's the story of generosity. So in case you missed it, here's the quick version. God asks us to be generous. He wants us to be like Him. God sent Jesus to us. Jesus gave up His life. Jesus showed us how to give. We give to things we care about. The rich guy cared about his stuff. The poor woman cared about Jesus. Jesus cares about us. We can love Jesus back by being generous. And that's a part of God's story.